Not much else really in the news as of late. There's been a couple of other things, just a few other things. Well, we talked about this before, and I want to kind of talk about it right now. Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, the new Big E stable. We talked about it last week. We weren't really sure if it was a new singles gimmick for Xavier Woods, but it has been announced that, not announced, but it's been made clear that both Kofi and Big E will be a part of the stable. It's not been confirmed that Big E will be a part of it, but he has to be. If Kofi's a part of it, then Big E is soon to follow. I assume they'll probably air the vignette with him in it next week, and the following week they'll probably debut the night after Survivor Series. So, Brendan, I'll ask you first, because you were the one that brought up the comical idea of debuting them at Survivor Series, like the Shield 2 years ago. But I want to get your thoughts on this trio of Big E, Kofi, and Xavier Woods, and this whole New Days stuff. What do you see happening with this trio of guys?
First off, if I hear somebody call it the New Nation of Domination, I'm going to probably slap them upside the face. That was so many years ago. These, honestly, I feel like these three have so much more potential than everybody else in the Nation of Domination had combined.
Agreed.
Xavier Woods has got the mic skills. Big E has got the, I guess you could say, athleticism, in-ring prowess maybe, and Kofi's got both the experience because he's been in WWE for a lot longer than you might think, and he's got the athleticism as well. They've got the ability to be something great, something wonderful. The biggest worry, honestly, is what they're going with this. I've heard some people saying how they're going with the preacher thing, but I feel like that's a bit too obvious even for WWE. I personally think they're going to be trying to use this to deter the crowd, maybe. It's like how a couple of months ago in like August when the three of them had that little promo on Raw talking about how they're sick of trying to fit people's mold or whatever. I could see them using it as like a plot device, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Talking like how they don't want to fit the stereotypical black guy gimmicks, like dancing and shucking and jiving or preacher gimmicks. They don't want to fit that mold anymore. They want to be who they are, and that's why I think they're going with the whole New Day thing and like that Phoenix insignia that they've got in the back of their promos as well.
That's what I'm hoping for, too. I'm not betting on it, but I think it'd be great if they kind of hype up. I mean, they've been really overdoing it with these vignettes and trying to make him seem like this stereotypical black group and all this other, all the other stereotypes that you would think that would be in a WWE gimmick and whatnot. And they've been really pushing it. So it's to the point where it's so over the top where I'm thinking that they come out doing the whole chucking and jiving thing, like you said before, and then they just turn on whoever they're supposed to be facing, like Los Matadores or whoever. And then they just kind of go from there. Like, I don't know if they're going to be a heel group or what. Especially with the Wyatt family gone, we need a new heel trio. I mean, we don't need one, but it would be nice. So it'd be great to get them in the tag team division at least, so we don't have to see Los Matadores and Stardust and Goldust face each other every week. And there's just such a lack of tag teams right now. They need more teams, and I think the addition of Big E and Kofi can really add something. But yeah, I like your idea in that they come out doing the whole gimmick, but then they kind of turn on that at the last minute. So that's what I'm hoping for. Like I said before, I'm not betting on it, but regardless of whether people like the gimmick or not, I'm a big fan of all three of these guys. I think Xavier Woods is very, very good. A lot of people have always looked at him as like a loser, but if you go back at his time in TNA, his Consequences Creed, the guy was great. He's a very good worker. He's also a very underrated mic worker, as we saw a couple months ago. Big E, I don't know what they did with him. There's a lot of lost potential there, but he's very good. And Kofi, it's a well-known fact, he's amazing as well. So I think you put all three of these guys together, it can make for a very interesting dynamic and a trio. And like I said before, regardless of whether you like it or not, I think it's something good for them. At least they have TV time. They've been off TV for upwards of 4 or 5 months, so at least it's something for them to do, and they're not being put to waste by not being on TV at all. So RJ, I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you see this act involving Xavier Woods, presumably Big E, and Kofi Kingston having any potential?
Right when you said that, like, they might churn on, I could kind of seem like they kind of kept hyping Bros Clay as the monster heel. Then the night of, they did, like, the stupid Funkasaurus thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like you said, they come out, do, like, the shucking and jive and, like, preacher shit, and then they just turn on and say, like, this is what they want us to be. We're going to be against the authority or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that could easily work. I think, like you said, I think since Xavier Woods' debut, he kind of was a big flop. I watched more TNA when he was Consequences Creed.
Creed, yeah.
So I know what he has. He's got a lot of skill and stuff like that. So I think, obviously, since he was in WWE, he was very underutilized. And I think Big E was hot, and then they poured a huge bucket of water on his head, and then he got cold. And Kofi Kingston's been Kofi Kingston for the last 10 years. And he's pretty much the same guy. I think he can do great stuff and stuff like that, but obviously he has that height of being just a mid-card guy. But I think his involvement in the group can help them just big spots and stuff like that, and he could be good with a tag team with Big E and have Xavier kind of be like the mouthpiece or go for a singles run or something like that. But I think Big E and Kofi could be a good tag team to the tag team division that there's really not really any tag teams right now. So I think it'll be good. They all can work. We all know that. They've kind of got the short end of the stick, but I think the WWE might realize that they really need more talent, more especially mid-card and tag team division, so they can utilize them there, and hopefully it works out.
Well, like you said before, I think it's kind of a second chance for both Big E and Xavier Woods, because Xavier Woods, the kiss of death was pairing this guy with R-Truth on the first night of his debut. That, automatically from day one, people did not care about him. If you get paired with R-Truth, you're done. If you get paired with Santino Marella, like Emma did, you're done. So I'm glad he's getting a second chance in this gimmick. Big E, same exact thing. At least with Big E, they were building him up the right way. He was having good matches with Del Rio and Orton and all these other people. He was involved in that big angle with John Cena when he was with the whole trio with AJ and Dolph. But, yeah, he's a very good worker, too. He was so overdone in NXT as a babyface. He was kind of over as a babyface in the main roster. They never gave him the 5-count gimmick that he had back in NXT. But that being said, though, I think this is kind of a resurrection of both the characters of Xavier Woods and a Big E, and I think it's great for them. Kofi Kingston, like you said before, he's a guy that is just, he's great, and I think he could have been something, and like you've said before, he could have been something when he was feuding with Randy Orton about 4 or 5 years ago. But they hit a brick wall with Kofi Kingston in that people just don't see him being of anything like of substance. You know what I mean? He's just had so many start and stop pushes over the last 4, 5, 10 years, like you said before. A lot of people don't realize this, but like Brendan was saying before, the guy's been a part of the company for almost 7 years now on the main roster. It's crazy to think that. But I think Kofi Kingston in this environment with Big E and Xavier Woods by his side, they can make a great trio. It's an awesome addition to the tag team division, and hopefully they can ditch the whole preaching thing and they go the heel route, or at least become more serious, and they can get something great out of it. But even if they do go this route with the whole preaching thing, and this, the stereotypical gimmick, like I said before, at least they're doing something with them, because I've been complaining for months, as many people have been, about these guys not even being on TV. It's been a house show gimmick since like July for some reason. So at least they're finally getting a chance to shine.